All right. So yeah, very good evening to all of you. And only one person. Okay, I guess another person is still joining. So we're gonna wait for 2 minutes time. Let us make the way to join. Then we will get off session. We'll get starts with the today's session. All right. So I hope yeah. So I guess we can get on the session now. All right. So I guess we were been discussing about I guess we have done with the yeah loops. We have done analysis also. We have finished it. Okay, so then today we are talking about little into a data structures of Python programming. Very important from now onwards. I hope I can say that you guys are practicing. I hope you are doing well. Okay, so I don't know how much percentage of you are doing it. I don't know how much percentage of you're not doing it. I'm just helpless regarding that because you're not asking any questions. That depends on you. Okay. So today I'm just getting into a very important topic in Python programming, that is data structures of Python. Your Python data structures are of a couple of types. One is list, next is a tuple, next one is a dictionary, and the next one is a set. Okay, there are four different types of data structures in Python. Like data structure, what does mean by data structures? Most of the people have this question, right? So data structure is something which we have certain things to be managed, or the range of things, right? Or the range of things, like a huge things are present. Okay, so when you have a huge number of data is present, how do we handle, how do we sort it? How do we let's say search it? Okay, so in that particular way, right? So there is a huge process of doing it. Okay, so for that we can just do like this. Okay, for that process we have data structures in Python. Before we talk about data structures in Python, let us first of all let us understand what does the Python means, what does the data structure means. Okay, let us say make a data structures in Python. If you just look at the data structures of Python, but not only not in this Python. Okay, let us just understand what is the mean of data structures. Okay, let's say organize data in a proper format is basically called as a data structure. When you wanted to organize a huge amount of data, right? It is not a small data. Okay, anytime if you have a data structure comes into the place, the first and foremost thing you need to remember that it's a huge amount of data which is involved in that. Okay, that is called a data structure. So when you just have a data structure, right? When you have a data structure, okay, this data structure this data structure is consists of this data structure is consists of uh, sort, search, update, and delete operations. Right? It means if you have a huge data, obviously there is a requirement. There is a requirement to make a certain things to be done. What is that? First thing is you need to sort, you need to search, you need to update, and you need to delete it. Okay, so in this all of these four regions, in the all these four regions, your data structure will be a suitable data structure. Okay, if some data structure performs the well and good in all of these four different areas, okay, so that we can consider as that data structure will be a very effective data structure. Similarly, if you just do the same in Python, we have a four different type of objects. What you can call it as, there are four different type of objects of Python. Okay, so that satisfies this the four options like search, sort, delete, and update. Okay, so when we have a basic list, okay, we'll get on to the first object called list. We'll get on to the first thing called list, right? So the list is a primary data structure in Python. Very easy and a very primary data structure in Python. Okay, which is used for most of the realistic problems, right? It means the list is basically, otherwise I can just write like this: lists are just like dynamic arrays. Okay, like if you just look at a C or a C anyhow doesn't have the dynamic arrays, and in C++ we have a dynamic arrays. In Java also we have a dynamic arrays. Okay, similar to that. It means, what is the meaning of a dynamic things here? Okay, it means when you just look about, especially for a dynamic things. Okay, dynamic things, first thing is you can increase the size at runtime, and you can delete any item at runtime. Okay, and even you can do this. Okay, if you just able to perform this at runtime, in the sense it's just a matter of running this program at the server end, or when you just place this application on the server and the client is using it, that's called runtime, correct? At the runtime, if it is able to perform all of these operations like size increasing, updating, or deleting, right? So if you are able to perform this kind of things, that's called runtime data structures or runtime dynamic arrays. Okay, now, so that is how even we can do all of this, right? So this is all about it, basic thing. Okay, next, list is one of the primary data structure in Python. All right, what you can do, it just contains a lot of items in it. Okay, so yeah, it's one of the primary data structures in Python programming. And then uh, the list, right? The list is basically created, or you can just define in Python inside square brackets. It means this brackets. Okay, now next, each item in the list is separated by comma operator, right? It is separated by a comma operator or commas. Okay, next, the next thing is list can have any number of items and any number of items and which is same type of data, or different type of data. Okay, just try to understand this a few things, just try to concentrate on this couple of points. The first point we are looking at here is list is one of the data structures, primary data structures, nothing but it's a commonly used data structure in Python, used for most of these operations: update, delete, and increase the size of it. Okay, and the second thing is, when you are trying to define a list in Python especially, you need to declare something in Python with the square brackets. Why especially I'm talking is a square brackets here is, there are some other set of objects in Python. There are some other set of objects in Python will be defined with a different brackets, I can say. Like you are using right now a list will have a square brackets. You might use something like tuple, okay, that is having a parenthesis. Okay, and then you might have let's say dictionary, right? It is used within the what you can call curly braces. Okay, and you have a sets that is also be in curly braces. Like there are several objects, so that's the reason when somebody is trying to do this. Just give me a minute. Your boss is calling. All right, so hope this is clear, right? The next thing is, as your boss is telling that there are some miscommunication is happened. So as he said, as he wanted to pass the information that every day it is 7:30 only, not 7:15. Okay, please do remember that. Okay, let us first define empty list. Let us make sure that define some empty list. So what is the meaning of empty list? Let's say I'm writing a list object and make sure that I'm giving a list as empty, no elements in this. Okay. Otherwise, if you want a little more clarity, my underscore list, right? So this will be a little more clear where you just have a list with this, right? So we just have a list which is doesn't have any values in it. Okay. This is the first type of a list. Okay. The second type of a list is having same type of data. List is having a same type of data. So how do I do it? My underscore list one. Okay, I'm writing a list one. Okay, list one, list is already defined there, right? So let me write some numbers. Okay, this is also be accepted. Okay, you wanted to print the values here? Yes, it is 100% possible. You just display this values. Here it is an empty list. There is no values in it. There is no values in it. This is the having. And the next one is what I mean is list is having a different type of data. List is having a different type of data. Let's say I'm just writing list two. Okay. First, I'm writing one integer, one string, right? And I'm trying to write one more string. I'm writing some float. All right. So I'm just trying to write a different types of data and which is not same as the previous one. So just observe this three here. Let us observe this three here. What is the first one we are looking at? It is the empty list object. It is something called empty list object. There is no values in it because we are defining a list which is of empty brackets, right? We are just having a list which is of empty brackets. And the second one is the list which is having a same type of data. There is no other values here. All are integral values or integers. Not only integers, you can also make a list which is of a what I can say string also. Okay. Okay. Just look at here. This is the same type of data, which is something called what is that integer, right? This is the same type of data, which is a string type of data. Okay, now see that there is a two different types of data, but both are representing the same, right? And if you just look at the middle one, if you just look at the middle one, in this middle one, we have some data, which is the data is not same type. The one which is representing a what? Float, the one which is representing an integer, the one which is representing a string, and the one is representing in sorry, another string, something like that. Okay. So guys, I just want you to observe this for a couple of minutes. Okay. right? Just observe this couple of cells, and if you have any questions regarding this, you just let me know. So I hope you have clear with this, all right? So if you have any questions, you just please put up on chat so that we can discuss it. So then, the very important thing we need to understand how a person is trying to. I just wanted to read a value from this. Okay, I wanted to read a value from this particular list object. When I wanted to read a value from this list object, when I wanted to read a value from this list object, how it is possible? Like if it is one, we can, it's fine, right? If it is two, also fine. If you have, imagine that you have a list which is almost have a 1000 records, or it might be a 1 lakh records, right? Okay, so In that case, how can right? How can it process? How can it basically work together? Okay. Now you need to recall there is another concept called index, right? There is a concept called index, right? So using this index, or some people will call it as a script, type script, or some people will call it as a subscript. Anything is same. Okay, anything is same. Either you write as the index or you write it as a subscript. Both is the same meaning. Both are having the same meaning. For example, if you're trying to do this index, okay, if you're trying to do this index will have that process. Okay, index will have that particular process. Okay, now is that clear? Now by using this index, okay, I'm trying to read a values from it. Okay, so when I wanted to read a value, let's say print my underscore list one, I'm just using a third cell, and index anyhow always starts from 0. Index always starts from 0. My underscore list one of, if you just look at a second index, it is 3. See that this is what the list is right now, correct? So in this list, this is arranged at 0 position and this is arranged at third position. See that this is arranged by 0 and this is arranged at a third position. Nothing but 0 1 2 it is, right? 0 1 2 it is. Okay, so similarly, if I wanted to do this again, okay, so if I wanted to do this again for multiple values, it means what you required 100%, I wanted to repeat over the range of the values, right? We just wanted to see that over the range of these values, correct? So whenever you just see that range of values, obviously what you required is you required a some loop, correct? Right? This is required a some loop, right? So that's the reason, right? Right, so how do we write a simple loop to do it? Okay, before we go into this, there is the other style we can just look at here, right? So what you can do is, let's write a length of this list. We have a function name called length, len. Okay, so when we have a length, we can able to basically we can range this values, right? So for I in, we know already range function last class, right? I'm just passing the input as the length of the list. I'm passing as an input for this. Okay, and each time in this loop, I'm trying to give you some value with a specific index, right? I'm passing some specific index over here. So then what will happen if you just look at the output over here, because it's a my list one. Okay, so because my list is an empty list, correct? See that these are the 6 items we have, right? Correct. So when we have the 6 items, how would the 6 items are representing here? The 6 items are representing this will be a 0 position, nothing but length of my list. It means a 6 will come here, right? Indirectly, this entire statement, I can say that range of 6, correct? Yes or no? Because my length of list is representing 6, so that each time it will goes 0 to 5 here up to this, correct? and in this values of this list, it will be print each time of the list will get this value. Let's say 0. Second time, I mean when the loop is repeating, right, it goes up to my list of, let's say, 6. So 6 will not have, it is not considered because it's a range function. It will consider only up to 5, correct? So that within that range it will print for 6 values. Am I clear with this? Right, so please look into it. Do you have any questions? Please let me know. Right, so guys, is that clear? Right, so do you have any questions here? It means, let's say if you are trying to do the same from the forward direction, okay, if you're just trying to do the same thing from a forward direction, your index starts always from a 0. Okay, in Python there is a specialty in Python. What is that specialty is, even you can print a list values from the reverse order also. So it means your reverse index of the list, as we have, just please be clear about this one, guys, be clear about this one. Okay, your start index is always starts from what? 0. Okay, and goes on up to the last index will be length minus 1. This is the forward direction I'm talking. Whenever you're trying to do this, it's in a forward direction, and you are having a values like this. There is the list we can even print from a reverse order. In the reverse index, your index will always starts from negative number, right? And it goes up to the length minus length, right? It goes up to the minus length in a reverse order. Okay, now is that clear? You understood? So you just I mean, you might have a problem. Let us say that my underscore less to one, I'm trying to write -1. You believe it or not, -1 index you never see in any other language. You will only see that in the Python programming. Okay, so let us see that my underscore list one of -2, -3, something like that. You will just see that reverse order of the index is always in that particular region. For example, somebody asked me to print values in the reverse direction. How do I do it? It's pretty simple. I can just write length of my list as the uh, parameter, right? As we have already seen this, right? In the above example, if you just look at here, right? It is just something like this, correct? But a second parameter, I'm passing it as a 0. And third parameter, I'm passing it as -1. Okay. Otherwise, we can just do like this. The first parameter I'm passing as -1. Second parameter, I can pass it as length of my list. Okay. Right. And just say -1 to it. Okay. Yeah. So it is starts from -1 and this goes to 0 and the reverse direction -1. Okay. Now just a second. I just missed some logic here. Okay, so it is index out of range. We'll just make sure that write a second parameter as -1. No possible. Let's say 1. Why it's giving us okay. Range will have okay. So 1 will be printing -1, and let's say -1. No. Okay. Let's say it is printing 3 values. No chances. Up to -3. Okay. Up to length of yeah, this could be a fine. Okay. Goes to the -1. Okay. So -1 is not required. Okay, fine. You can just go up to the -1 index. Okay. You can even go for you can go for the +1 to it, right? Yeah, anything is same. Okay, anything is same. Okay, so the last index will be considered as 1, so it just going for a -1 up to that length process. Okay, so if you just look at here, right, this is a start value, correct? This could be the end value and this could be the step. Okay, similarly, but just changing the simple process of doing it. Okay, now is that clear? Yes, please look into it. Then we'll just move. Okay, guys, do you have any questions here up to this? This is printing a list in forward because it is supporting an index from 0 to length, and this is the length in reverse direction, and the last index is always represented -1. Okay, is that clear? Let me define this list again here. Let me just define the list again. And now let us see that I just wanted to update a value from the list. So how do I update it? It's pretty simple. You just pointing which index value you wanted to update. Let's say I wanted to update the third index to some other value. Let us see whether the value is updated or not. See that earlier in the third index, we have a value called 4, right? Yes or no? You have a value called 4 in the third index. But as once you have done it, it is got replaced by 1990 because we have just replaced it. For example, you wanted to delete any value, right? Let's say I can use del keyword. This is Python keyword, guys. This is another Python keyword to delete any list value. Let's say I can delete a something value called 2. So after this, oh, my list 1. Okay, sorry. So then if I'm trying to display this list, see that the second index earlier 3, right? After using a del keyword to delete a value, then automatically that particular method has that particular value has got deleted. Okay, for example, you wanted to insert a value into the list. For example, this is the next case. Let's say my underscore, let's say this is for I'm trying to insert a value into the list. Okay, so my list value is what? List. Already I have how many indexes? Because you look at here, this is 1 2 3 4 5 indexes. It means 4 indexes. I wanted to insert at 5th index. Let's say I wanted to insert something called 9998. This will be a problem. List assignment is out of range. Please keep this error in mind. Please keep this error in mind. This is an error you will find very frequently in Python programming. I'll tell you how to process, let's say how to overcome this problem also. Okay, please look at here, and then we are just moving to the next. All right, so is it done, guys? Is that finished? All right, so yeah, so right now we are just moving into a list methods. Okay, so I guess the time will not be sufficient for today, so I'll do one thing. Tomorrow I'll extend 5 minutes for the beyond the time, because within the 5 minutes I could not able to complete even one method also. So we'll see that thing tomorrow. Okay, all right, so thank you so much, guys, for your participation. We'll see you tomorrow.